Every empire in history has left something behind: monuments, borders, or ruins. But one empire still rules, and you can't see it. It has no flag, no army, no official ruler, and yet every government, every corporation, and every citizen serves it, often without realizing it. It is the empire of invisible debt, a system so vast and so deeply woven into modern life that it doesn't need to conquer by force. It conquers through numbers, through promises, through something we call money. But here's the secret. Money, as we know it, isn't wealth. It's manufactured debt, and the empire that controls this system doesn't print wealth, it prints obedience. Today, we're uncovering how a hidden financial empire rose to power, not through gold or trade, but through the quiet creation of debt itself. Because once you understand how money is truly made, you'll see who really rules the world. To understand the empire, we need to travel back centuries before credit cards and digital currencies, to the 17th century, when something extraordinary happened. In 1694, England was broke. Years of wars had drained the treasury. The crown was desperate for money, but raising taxes could spark rebellion. Entered a group of wealthy merchants, men who had gold, influence, and a plan. They proposed creating a private institution that could lend money to the government, but with interest. That institution became the Bank of England. Here's where the magic trick began. The bank didn't lend gold it already had. It created money by issuing promises backed by the government as future taxes. Debt became currency, and the more debt the government owed, the more money the system could create. It was a genius invention, a way to fund endless wars and expansion without ever running out of cash. But it came with a price. Control. Whoever issued the credit controlled the state, and this model spread like wildfire. France, Germany, and later, the United States, each adopted their own version. Central banks became the silent rulers behind the visible governments. For centuries, nations tied their money to gold, a finite, tangible resource. Gold kept greed in check. You couldn't just print it. But by the early 20th century, something changed. Wars became global, economies ballooned, and gold couldn't keep up with the appetite for credit. Then came Bretton Woods. 1944, the world gathered to rebuild after World War II. The US dollar, backed by gold, became the new global anchor. Other countries pegged their currencies to it, trusting America's promise: each dollar can be redeemed for gold. It worked until it didn't. By the 1960s, America printed more dollars than it had gold to back them. The math no longer added up, and in 1971, President Richard Nixon made a fateful announcement. The United States will suspend the convertibility of the dollar into gold. With that single move, money was officially severed from reality. Gold was out, trust was in. Money became pure belief, backed not by value, but by debt. From that moment, every dollar created was born as someone's liability. A loan, an IOU, a promise to pay someday. And the hidden empire grew stronger, because when money itself is debt, then to keep the system alive, someone must always owe. After 1971, the age of manufactured wealth began. Central banks could now expand the money supply infinitely. Governments borrowed more, corporations leveraged more, and consumers, well, they learned to love debt. Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, the lifeblood of the modern economy. But here is the twist. Every dollar created through lending also created a matching amount of interest owed. And the interest didn't exist yet. The system demanded new money, new debt, just to pay off the old. It's a self-reinforcing spiral. When economies slow, central banks cut interest rates, making borrowing easier. When growth stalls again, they print. More than this time digitally. Trillions flow into the markets, not into people's hands, but into assets, stocks, real estate, bonds. Prices soar. The rich get richer, not because they're producing more, but because they're closest to the source of new money. This is called the Cantillon effect. The rule that those who receive newly created money first benefit the most. Everyone else gets the inflation later. It's not a bug of the system. It is the system. The hidden empire doesn't need armies to expand. It expands through credit. Every loan is a new colony. Every repayment, a tribute. By the 2000s, the illusion began to show cracks. When the dot-com bubble burst, central banks lowered rates to nearly zero. When a housing market collapsed in 2008, they printed trillions to save the system. But here's the irony. Each bailout only strengthened the empire of debt. The solution to every crisis became More of the same poison. Debt soared to record highs. Governments, corporations, and households all owed more than ever before. By 2024, global debt passed $315 trillion. That's nearly 4 times the world's total annual GDP. And yet, economies keep functioning for now, because the system isn't designed to be repaid. It's designed to roll over forever. When debts can be repaid, they're restructured. When money loses value, they redefine inflation. When citizens start questioning, they rebrand quantitative easing, stimulus, liquidity injection. Different names for the same trick. Printing what doesn't exist and calling it growth. But every empire meets its limit, and the hidden empire of debt is no exception. Governments have tried reforming the system, regulating banks, adjusting interest rates, even introducing digital currencies. But these are bandages on a structural flaw. Because debt-based money can't exist without exponential growth. If economies stop expanding, defaults begin. If defaults begin, credit contracts. And when credit contracts, the illusion of wealth collapses. This is why policymakers fear recessions more than anything else. Growth isn't just a goal, it's a survival mechanism. Digital central bank currencies, CBDCs, are being introduced as the next evolution, promising efficiency, control, and financial inclusion. But some see them as the final consolidation. The moment the hidden empire becomes visible, when every transaction is trackable and programmable, debt becomes not just financial, but behavioral. Spend the wrong way, and your access could vanish. The debt machine won't need interest anymore. It will have data. If this all sounds new, it's not. The Roman Empire debased its silver coins to fund expansion, until the currency collapsed. The French Revolution was sparked by national debt. The Weimar Republic printed money until bread cost billions of marks. Every time, the story ends the same. When a society confuses money for wealth, it eventually runs out of both. Today, the warning signs are flashing again. Rising inflation, record household debt, widening inequality, and central banks trapped in their own creation. But the patterns are clear. The empire of invisible debt is strongest right before it cracks. So what can we learn from the rise of this hidden empire? Takeaway 1. Money is not value. It's a claim on future labor and trust. Whoever controls the creation of money controls the future. Takeaway 2. Debt is not an accident. It's the operating system of modern civilization. Understanding it means seeing through the illusion of endless prosperity. Takeaway 3. True wealth isn't in what can be printed or borrowed. It is in what holds value when everything else collapses. Skills, resources, community, and integrity. The empire of invisible debt survives on ignorance, but once you see it, you're no longer just a subject of it. You're a witness. Maybe the next financial revolution won't start in banks or boardrooms. Maybe it'll start with awareness. With people asking, finally, who built this empire? And why are we still serving it? If this story opened your eyes, help spread it. Hit subscribe, share this video, and join us next time as we uncover another chapter of the financial system they never wanted you to understand. The hidden empire built on invisible debt and manufactured wealth. Subscribe for more exposes on money, history, and global power.